Welcome to week 4 of our faraway learning, our remote learning. This week, May 11th through the 15th, we are starting a nonfiction story called Deep Down and Other Extreme Places to Live. So we're going to be checking out some vocab. We are going to be listening to understand an informational text. We will analyze text features when we underline, and we will correct and confirm our predictions when we highlight. This week also starts a brand new unit, so we've got a lot to look at today. So if you could start on page 424, I'll be ready for you. So get ready for page 424. Get started while I get ready. All right, Unit 5. That starts on page 424. This is solutions. Last unit was called events. This one is solutions. So a solution is an answer to a problem or challenge. So our essential question is, how does the world challenge us? Oh my, that is a ton of answers to how the world challenges us. But like anything, when there's a challenge, it's not about what it is, but it's about how we react to it. So this should be an interesting unit to go through. So when you look over here on page 425, you're going to see the different stories that we're going to check into for this last 5 weeks. So the first one is this week, Deep Down and Other Extreme Places to Live. It's informational text. And the nonfiction thing we're looking at to start is going to be a timeline. So we're going to look at timeline, and the timeline's called Nature Rocks. Then the second story, I'm super pumped again because it's about natural disasters and things that change the earth. So the second one is earthquakes, eruptions, and other events that change Earth. It's informational as well. There's so many great things you can tie into this. We can look at different videos about earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and things that can change how the Earth's landscape is. It's pretty cool. And that infographic is going to be a map when Earth changes, so that'll be our beginning. Then the third story is a safety plan in case of emergency. That one is a procedural text. That's like how-to, steps to take to do something. And that's an emergency infographic. Then we have a historical fiction for week 4, which is, I've talked about it a long time ago, the Dust Bowl. That's when the drought was so sketchy and caused everybody to move west in Oklahoma. They wanted to search for jobs, and it was just a perfect storm of drought and economic hardships during the Great Depression. But that story is Nora's Ark, not Noah's Ark, Nora's Ark. So it should be fun to see what we learn from that. And the last story that we will look at for this year will be a traditional tale. So that goes back to one of our beginning stories, like why the sky is so far away and explaining something in nature or teaching a lesson. This one is from Aesop's Fox. So it uses animals to teach a lesson. And you're usually short stories. So that is what our overview of our lessons for this next chunk of our units are. We're not really going to go anything with this, so turn your page so that we can look at page 430. Page 430 is where we will start today. And this is Nature Rocks. And this is going to address our weekly question, how can nature change people's lives? Oh my gosh, nature changes everything. It depends on what we wear outside depends on what nature is doing that day. So if it's sunny but chilly like it has been, we're going to definitely wear sweaters and maybe even some mittens. But if it's sunny and the temperature is warm, we're going to wear something different. Okay, so when you look at this timeline, this is our weekly lunch. Look, it goes all the way back to 1825, and then it goes to 2025, which hasn't happened yet. We're like right now, 2020, like right here. So let's look at where we go back. 1845 and 1846. Let's start there. Writer Henry David Thoreau lives alone in a cabin in the woods. Later, he writes a book, Walden, about his experiences living in nature. So he just documents on Walden Pond. So there's actually a sleep story about it that Marilyn and I listen to sometimes. He describes building his home, what the weather's like, how around him is helpful or not so helpful. So it's a good read. Then in 1872, Yellowstone National Park becomes the first U.S. national park. The government says that the park is, quote, for the benefit and enjoyment of the people. So all people. It's protected, so it can't be destroyed by building houses on it. And that's the national park system. That's what started it. In 1901 through 1909, Theodore Roosevelt serves as President of the United States. During his time in office, the United States passes laws to keep many wild areas from being destroyed. And that goes along with the U.S. park system, national parks. Then we have, over here, 1973, the Endangered Species Act becomes a law. The law protects animals and plants that are in danger of becoming extinct, which means dying out until there are no more left. Yep. So it took quite a while to do something about endangered species. And then during the 2000s, ecotourism becomes popular. Ecotourists go to new places to enjoy nature. They're careful not to disturb plants and animals. So this is a timeline of how nature has been looked at and protected based on people and their interactions. So this week, how can nature change people's lives? That's an interesting one. Choose one event from the timeline. You can discuss this with your family. Explain how you think it helped both nature and people. Like if you've ever gone to the national parks, imagine what it would be like if they were not there. I don't want to imagine that because I think that people would have totally wrecked it by building a bunch of houses and taking the different habitats away from the animals, and there would be no place for us to enjoy some of the brilliant wonders. Yellowstone has the geysers and geothermal areas. It's really cool. So talk about that with your family. When you turn your page, on page 433, we are going to see the genre this week, which is informational text. So, an informational text informs or explains by presenting facts. And remember, facts can be proven, opinions cannot. It may include an introduction or general idea about a topic, a main idea, what it's mostly about, important details to support the main idea, information about a real person, place, or event, and text features that clarify or support understanding of the topic. So this reminds me of our flip book from earlier in the year, like first couple months. We worked on our nonfiction text features flip book. So there's photographs, chapters, headings that organize information and subheadings, illustrations, graphs, bullets and numbers to group information, bold or italic fonts to emphasize, to draw the reader's attention. There might be highlighting. There may be diagrams with labels. All of those things contribute to what we can learn from an informational text story. So be on the lookout for those. And that's actually what we'll do when we underline on Wednesday. We'll be looking for text features that help us understand. Okay, turn your page, and we have our cover page here, Deep Down and Other Extreme Places to Live. This is by Sharon Yim Bridges, and over here on this side we'll have a spotlight on our author. She was born in Malaysia and spent much of her childhood in China and moved to the U.S. to attend college. She has written many informational books on special places, people, and cultures. Her series of history books about real-life princesses from around the world has received national and international awards. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Real-life princesses. I don't think it's anything like Cinderella, but who knows? Okay, so our first word is extreme. If something is extreme, it is way out there. That could be extreme temperatures, whether it's super duper hot or super duper cold. Maybe it's extreme weather conditions. Extreme. So it's not just right in the middle, dead center. It's way off from what is average. Then we have spectacular. Ooh, that makes me think of seeing great things in nature, like a huge mountain or a beautiful bright cardinal. That's something that's spectacular to me. Then we have attracts. If something attracts another thing, it means you're drawn to it. You're drawn to it. Region is an area or place with similar characteristics. And transport is to move from one place to another. So you guys will remember that our stuff is in the margin. So if I flip, oh, here it is. Here's extreme. Far from normal or average. That's the definition for that. Spectacular is wonderful or very beautiful. Yeah, it catches your eye. And you can't imagine how beautiful it is. Then we have attracts. Ooh, pretty. Interests or brings toward, catches your eye. Then when you look at region, an area of land. And transport, carry, or move from one place to another. So as I look at these, I see some great nonfiction text features that are going to help us. I see headings, I see pictures, I see diagrams. So this is going to be an awesome story to read this week, and I can't wait to learn about the extreme places to live. So we will get to read it tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Enjoy learning about this today so that we can be ready for tomorrow.